Hello, my name is Friday Salmon Mujage from Edukea Tanzania. I'm an H2 teacher advanced level, so I welcome you to participate with me in this lesson. So today we are going to start a new topic, which is threats to the world peace after the Second World War. So let us start with by mentioning those threats which happened after the Second World War. After the mass of the Second World War experienced other world threats to the world peace and stability. And these are the following of threats which occurred after the Second World War. Before doing anything, let us introduce the subtopics which we have to cover in this talk. The first subtopic is the Cold War. The second one is the nuclear arms race and the Cuban missiles crisis. And the third one, it is questioning of Israeli states and the Palestinian problems. There are three subtopics in our new topic. So the aftermath of the Second World War experienced the world threats to the world peace and stability. And the following are among of the threats to the world peace and stability of the world. So the first threat was Cold War. The second one was nuclear arms race. Third one was Cuban missile crisis. The fourth one, creation of Israeli state and others. The fifth one was Muslim extremism and terrorism. The sixth one, USA foreign policy. The seventh one, natural calamities. And the last one was pollution and global warming. So we are going to see one after another, but according to our syllabus, this pollution and global warming, natural calamities, and these are not being considered. So we will honor these 50 threats. So let us start with Cold War. What is Cold War? Was the state of military tension and the diplomatic and political enmity between the USA and its allies, and the USSR and its allies on another side. It means the Cold War was military tension and the diplomatic and the political enmity between USSR or United States of America and its allies, which included Britain, France, and Portugal and others. And on the other side, which was USSR, United Soviet Socialist Republic, with its allies, which included Poland, Bulgaria, Hungary, Austria, and other members of USSR. The war lasted from 1914 until the beginning of 1919. It means you can see many years it's been this Cold War has been happening. The war was fought with brain power, propaganda, money, and nuclear ammunition. The USA and the USSR competed to lead the space exploration. It means these blocks, USA and the USSR, with their allies, they were competing on the space exploration, the transportation or transporting to the moon or the space in general. So Cold War dominated the policy agendas of both sides and led to the formation of military alliances, which were two. And those were NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and the Western powers, which include the USA, France, Britain, and other Western powers. And the Warsaw Pact on other side, which was under USSR and its allies, or Soviet Union. And NATO was formed in 1949. And Warsaw Pact for the side of USSR was formed in 1955. So let us see the causes of Cold War. The first one was ideological differences. It means that those two blocks, USSR and USSR. USSR and USA are the two different ideologies. So in USA, they had believed in capitalism as their ideology. And on other side, USSR, they believed on communism or socialism ideology. So those blocks were competing on how they will spread their ideologies. On one side, USSR were competing to spread communism all over the world, and the USA on the back competing to contain communism and ensure there is spreading of capitalism as their ideologies. So that event expanded the Cold War as the world threat to the world peace and stability. Another cause was Russian expansionism policy. It means Russia was intended to expand herself worldwide. For example, in 1948, the governments of all Eastern European countries were brought under communism. For example, in Poland, Bulgaria, Austria, Hungary, and Eastern Germany, as well as Romania. These were countries in Eastern Europe or Eastern European countries which were brought or where Russia was expanded to control over those countries, which were Hungary, Austria, Bulgaria, Poland, Eastern Germany, and Romania. But on other side, USA was get anger by the action which done by Russia and decided to compete on containing the spread of communism in these Eastern European countries. So hence, the Cold War was ended. Another was the formation of military alliances. The formation of military alliances. As I have told you that those two blocks were competing on ensuring every bloc spread his or her ideology, whereby USSR were competing to spread communism or socialist ideology, and USA competing to spread capitalism ideology. So the reason or the way what they decided is to form military alliances, whereby USA with its allies formed the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is called the NATO, in 1948. And on the other side, the USSR formed the Warsaw Pact in 1955 with its allies to ensure that there is military assistance when their member states are being invaded by the enemy part or side. So this accelerated the occurrence of Cold War that threatened the world peace and the stability after the Second World War. So the first cause of Cold War was the involvement of USA in affairs on the matters of Europe. It means that the involvement of USA in the affairs on the matter of Europe. For example, in Turkey and Greece, USA wanted to involve herself in matters of Turkey and Greece, and that angered the USSR to contain that action which was doing by USA. So that led to the increase or manifestation of Cold War. Another was the secret manufacturing and development of dangerous weapons. It means that it was secret action or secret processes, whereby those nations or those blocs were struggling to manufacture and developing dangerous weapons. For example, like atomic bombs, air jets, and others. For example, in 1960, USSR was the first nation to send an airplane to the moon, known as Apollo, and the reply USA did the same in 1970. So you can see that those nations were struggling to ensure there is manufacturing and development of dangerous weapons. For example, USA dropped the atomic bomb in Nagasaki and Hiroshima to make Japan shut down after the invasion of Pearl Harbor attack in 1941. So USA dropped the atomic bomb in those provinces in Japan. So that was the result of manufacturing and development of dangerous weapons. So these were the causes of Cold War. After looking the causes of Cold War, let us see the manifestation of Cold War or indicators of Cold War. The first indicator was presence of Cuban missile. This was the missile which was placed by the USSR or Russian president or the leader of USSR, which was known as by Nikita Khrushchev. This was the missile which placed in 1962 by that president, targeting the important cities in USA, which was Washington, New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. So this was latent USA, and that led to the manifestation of Cold War. Another was the establishment of Marshall Plan in 1947. The Marshall Plan was aimed at providing loans and financial assistance to the European nations due to the affection or effects of Second World War. So that plan, which was established by that time under the presidency of Harry Truman, was aiming at spreading of capitalism ideology in European nations. So in the response, USSR came up with a Molotov plan to suppress the spreading of capitalism in European nations. So this was the competition that manifested that there is Cold War in the world that threatened the world peace and stability. Another manifestation was the Berlin blockade on 24th June 1948. This was the broken line which was dividing the Eastern German and the Western German, which was blocking the Western German to enter in the Eastern bloc of German. So this was in the Western German, there were Britain, USA, Italy. Sorry, there were USA, France, and Italy. And on the other side was the USSR. So this was the blockade or line which was dividing Germany into two sides. So under this action led to the manifestation of Cold War, to the world peace and stability. Another manifestation was formation of North Atlantic Treaty Organization under the USA in 1949, and in response or in reply, the USSR formed the Warsaw Pact in 1955, which were the military alliances for the assistance on the member states when they were being invaded by the enemy bloc. So in that sense, the formation of these military alliances manifested the existence of Cold War. Another was creation of Taiwan state in 1949. This was the state which were supposed to be created in China under the support from USA. So the Taiwan leaders were supported by USA to contain the spread of communism in China and other parts of Asia. So in the other response, USSR supported China in order to contain that action which were brought by the USA to create the new state within the nation in China. So this was another manifestation of existing of Cold War in the world that was threatening the world peace and stability. And the last one was the Potsdam Conference of 1945. And there was another conference which was called the Yalta Conference. They took place in the same year. So their aims was dividing Germany into two parties, means Western Germany and Eastern Germany. And Eastern Germany were on or under the USSR, and the Western Germany were under the control of USA, France, and Italy. So you can see this Potsdam Conference was just showing the presence of Cold War that was threatening the world peace and stability. After looking at the manifestation of Cold War, let us jump to the effects of Cold War. What were the effects or impacts of Cold War? The first one was it led to the division of the world into two blocks. After the occurrence of Cold War and as it was going on, the world was divided into two blocks, which was capitalist bloc and the socialist bloc or communist bloc, which were socialist bloc were combined by Russia, Poland, Bulgaria, Austria, and Hungary, as well as the Slovakia. But on other side, the capitalist bloc was formed by USA, France, Italy, Belgium, and other nations. So this was the impact or aftermath of the Cold War. Another was it led to the formation of NATO and Warsaw Pact, whereby those military alliances were formed for the military defense purpose, to defend against the other enemy bloc, whereby USA formed the NATO or North Atlantic Treaty Organization in 1949, and on the other side USSR and its allies formed the Warsaw Pact in 1955 to defend or to be there for defending that allies against the USA and its allies. Another impact, it led to the emergence of arms race. Cold War led to the emergence of arms race, whereby the atomic bombs and intermediate range ballistic missiles, this is missiles. Missiles were developed and established, and these were deadly weapons or dangerous weapons that were threatening the world peace and the stability. So, for example, in 1945, when USA dropped the atomic bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, so this was a step when the two blocks were developing in manufacturing deadly weapons. And on the response on the other side, USSR came up with another arms race or deadly weapons, which was called the intermediate range ballistic missiles or IRBM. So this was the result of Cold War after the Second World War. Another was it led to the formation of non-allied movement in 1955 at Bandung Conference, which was held in Indonesia by various third world countries leaders. So the conference was held to discuss on those countries which neither support capitalists nor socialists. So the formation of non-allied movement was the result of Cold War to ensure that the third world countries are neither supporting capitalists or nor socialists. Another effect was related to the formation of international spy networks. It means the aftermath of Cold War was formation of international spy networks. For example, USA formed the FBI and the CIA, Federal Bureau of Intelligence and the Central Intelligence Agency by USA, and the USSR formed the KDG and COM, and Israel used the Mossad, and other nations formed the various international spy networks which were used on spying the international affairs concerning their respective countries. So these were another effect of Cold War. Another effect is related to the division of Germany. It means that after the Cold War, Germany was divided into two parts, whereby Western Germany was under USA or capitalist bloc of comprising USA, France and Italy, and other bloc of Eastern Germany was under the USSR and its allies. So this was another effect of Cold War. And the last one, it intensified the decolonization campaigns. It means that the emergence of two blocs in the world intensified the decolonization campaign, or the Cold War intensified the decolonization campaign. In which sense? In the sense that even in Africa and Asian countries, those two blocs were competing to spread their ideologies, whereby USSR on their ends were competing to spread socialism or communism ideology, and supporting those countries in Africa and Asia which were supporting the communism ideology. For example, in Ghana, in Tanganyika, those were countries which were supporting the communism. Ghana under Kwame Nkrumah, and in Tanganyika under Julius Kambarage Nyerere. Those leaders were supported by the USSR to demand their independence. And on other sides, USA supported morally and material assistance to those African and Asian nations to decolonize those colonial domination in their countries. For example, in Kenya and South Africa, these were nations which were supported by those emerged two superpower. So this was another impact of Cold War. So these were all the effects of Cold War. After looking that, there is an exercise here which contains two questions. Cold War was not like a thunderstorm, substantiate. And the second one was explain the effects of Cold War. Until there, this is the end of our lesson. So thank you for watching me, and